You know, last year, State Farm pulled in over $125 billion in revenue.
Which is just a massive, massive number.
Right. I mean, if you just look at those numbers, you would think the people running their local agencies are, popping champagne every night.
Oh, absolutely.
But if you log on to the anonymous forums for State Farm agents right now, you definitely won't find celebrations. You will find absolute existential panic.
Yeah, the tone is really dark.
It is. Welcome to the Deep Dive, everyone. We are thrilled you're joining us today because this is about so much more than just car insurance.
It really is a massive shift.
Yeah.
Our goal today is to unpack exactly why State Farm is, well, drastically cutting agent commissions and benefits.
Right.
We want to look at how this aggressive restructuring benefits their corporate bottom line.
Yeah.
Why they're doing this right now in the age of AI, and, exactly how an ambitious agent must completely reposition their franchise to survive.
Yeah, I was reading through these internal leaks from Reddit communities, specifically the State Farm insurance agent subreddits, and the sentiment is just pure terror. People are talking about losing their entire livelihoods. But to understand why a company would do this to its own workforce, we first have to look at the massive macroeconomic picture.
Exactly.
And for that, we have the 2026 Global Insurance Outlook from Deloitte and some highly detailed financial benchmarking reports from IBIS World.
Yeah, and those IBIS World benchmarking reports are really the key to unlocking this whole mystery.
Okay, let's unpack this.
So if you just look at the top line numbers, State Farm looks invincible, right? In 2026, their property, casualty, and direct insurance revenue is sitting at a staggering $125.7 billion.
Wow!
And furthermore, their revenue per employee is around $1.9 million.
Almost $2 million per person.
Yeah, which represents the highest productivity in their entire competitive peer group.
Wait, hold on. That math doesn't add up.
How so?
Well, if they are generating nearly $2 million per employee and leading their peer group in productivity, how does that translate into the financial crisis that's causing all this panic on Reddit?
Because productivity just measures how much cash is flowing through the register. It does not measure how much actually stays in the register.
Oh, I see.
Right, so when you look at their profitability, the picture is shockingly bleak. In property and casualty, their profit margin is negative 3.7%.
Negative.
In homeowners insurance, it is negative 2.4%.
Mm.
And in business insurance, it's sitting at exactly 0.0%.
That is wild.
Yeah, they are consistently ranking in the bottom 50% of their industry peers for profitability. So they're bringing in billions, sure, but they are bleeding out the back end.
But how does a company of that size lose money on its core products? Like, is it just bad management?
Well, no, it's a combination of severe macroeconomic pressures and just the nature of the insurance model itself.
Right, inflation and all that.
Exactly. Think about what's happened over the last few years. Unprecedented inflation has skyrocketed the cost of auto parts and labor.
Oh yeah, getting a car fixed right now is incredibly expensive.
And simultaneously, you have climate change driving up the frequency and severity of catastrophic home claims. Wildfires, hurricanes, massive freezes. The payouts are just soaring.
But couldn't they just raise premiums?
See, because insurance is heavily regulated, State Farm can't just raise your premiums overnight.
Oh, right.
They have to apply to state boards, wait for approval, and by the time they get permission to raise rates by, say, 10%, the cost of replacing a bumper has already gone up 20%.
So it's like a wildly popular restaurant where the cost of the beef and the line cook's salaries have absolutely skyrocketed.
That's a great way to put it.
But the owner refuses, or in this case is legally forbidden, to raise the price of the burger on the physical menu.
Exactly.
Like they are selling out every single night. There's a line around the block, but they are physically paying 50 cents for the privilege of feeding every customer that walks through the door.
That is the exact mechanism. The cost of goods sold is outpacing the revenue. And when you're legally restricted from instantly raising prices to cover those costs, you have to look inward.
You have to cut costs.
Right. You have to aggressively cut your operational expenses. And for State Farm, the largest, most controllable operational cost they have is the compensation they pay to their human distribution network.
Meaning the agents.
The agents.
Which brings us back to the panic I saw on those Reddit forums.
Yeah.
The agents are terrified about a new contract slated for 2028.
Yeah, internally they're calling it the AA28 contract.
Right, the AA28. I saw people saying this is going to bankrupt them, but the forums are full of industry jargon. What is actually in this contract that has everyone so spooked?
Well, the specifics of the AA28 contract represent a systematic dismantling of how agents have historically built wealth. First off, they are eliminating something called the AIPP.
The Agency Enforced Premium Plan, right. What does that actually mean in plain English?
Essentially, agents spend decades building up a book of business-like, a huge pool of recurring customers. The AIPP was a financial mechanism that allowed them to monetize the equity in that book when they eventually retired or transitioned.
So it was their retirement plan, basically.
Pretty much. And removing it represents an average of a $500,000 plus reduction in lifetime income per agent.
$500,000.
Yeah, it completely destroys the illusion that captive agents own the value they've built.
Wow.
And on top of that, the new contract slashes the base commissions for selling auto insurance down to roughly 5 or 6%. Plus, it completely removes the group health insurance options for agents.
Okay, I have to stop you there because the health insurance piece is where the Reddit sources get incredibly dark.
It's a really tough situation.
It is. There was one agent on the forums who specifically talked about having a disabled child who needs very specific pediatric specialists.
Yeah.
And they explained that State Farm's group health insurance gave them access to specific PPO and EPO networks. If you lose that corporate group coverage, you get dumped into the public marketplace.
Where those networks might not be available.
Exactly. Those highly specific doctors might not be covered at all. So they are losing not just money, but the literal access to life-saving doctors for their child. Isn't gutting the livelihood and healthcare of the people who built your brand a terrible business strategy?
What's fascinating here is how corporate strategy often divorces itself from human impact. It is undeniably devastating at the individual level.
Totally.
But the Deloitte Outlook notes that 60% of insurance carriers globally are deeply concerned about a concept called cost stacking in their distribution landscape.
Cost stacking. Break that down for me.
Yeah, so imagine buying a car, but having to pay a separate fee to the manufacturer, the local dealership owner, the salesperson on the floor, and the cashier who takes your check.
Figure everybody gets a cut.
Right. That is cost stacking. Multiple layers of middlemen are all taking a slice of the profit margin.
Okay, I see where this is going.
From State Farm's perspective, paying for legacy benefits, like premium group health insurance for independent contractors, is an unacceptable layer of cost stacking.
Because they're technically independent contractors, not employees.
Exactly. As one surprisingly blunt user on Reddit pointed out, independent contractors for virtually any other company in America have to buy their own health insurance.
Wow.
The harsh corporate view is that these agents are simply losing a luxury they were technically not entitled to in the first place.
But you can't just spreadsheet away the human element, you know?
True.
Even if they are technically independent contractors, these are the people who built your entire brand. Don't you destroy the morale, the loyalty, and that famous good neighbor identity that actually brings the revenue in.
Well, that assumes the corporate office actually wants to keep all of those people around.
Wait, what?
Yeah, the leaks on Reddit reveal a much more calculating underlying goal. State Farm is not just trying to save a few bucks on health insurance. They are actively engineering a targeted purge of their workforce.
A purge?
Yes. They currently have roughly 19,000 agents. The stated goal in these leaks is to shrink that footprint down to about 14,000.
A reduction of 5,000 agencies? That is massive.
It is a huge cut.
But if labor is the biggest cost, who takes the hit? Like, are they freezing new hires or are they going after the veterans?
They are specifically targeting the veterans.
Really?
Yeah, they're making the new contract so financially punishing for a specific type of agent that those agents will simply choose to leave. In industry terms, they are going after the rest invest crowd.
Okay, what does rest invest look like in practice?
Think about an older generation agent who has been working in the same town for maybe 30 years. Over that time, they've built a massive book of business, maybe $10 to $15 million in annual premiums.
Which is a gold mine.
Exactly.
Yeah.
In the old days, a book that size meant you had made it. You could just sit back. You hire 2 relatively low-paid staff members to answer the phones, process address changes, mail out birthday cards.
And you just collect the checks.
Right. You collect the massive renewal commissions on all those auto and home policies year after year. The agent isn't actually out there hustling to sell new policies anymore.
They're just coasting.
Coasting on the renewals, playing golf on Fridays, and collecting a huge check.
But when you make the contract so painful that those older rest invest agents finally throw their hands up and retire, I mean, those multi-million-dollar books of business don't just vanish.
No, they don't.
State Farm still has all those customers paying their premiums, so where do the policies go?
According to the forums, those massive legacy books are either absorbed wholesale and reassigned to new, highly driven young agents, or they're chopped up and split among the remaining agents in the surrounding district.
See.
And this is the crucial mechanical insight from the corporate perspective. State Farm views the property and casualty revenue from those legacy books as already baked in.
Meaning the customer is going to stick around no matter who the agent is.
Exactly. If a customer has had their home and auto insured with State Farm for 15 years and they have their payments on auto draft, they are highly likely to just auto renew without even thinking about it.
So they don't need a high-paid agent to secure that.
Right. The company gains absolutely zero new value from paying a complacent golfing agent a premium commission just to collect an automated renewal.
That makes a lot of financial sense, honestly.
The company desperately needs new growth, new customer acquisition, and cross-selling into higher-margin financial products to fix their profit bleed.
So what does this all mean? They have to replace the comfortable agents with hungry ones.
That's it. They are intentionally making their corporate environment totally inhospitable for complacency. If you are not actively grinding for new business, they simply do not want you taking up space in the network anymore.
That is the brutal reality. But, I mean, intentionally purging a quarter of your entire sales force is an incredibly risky maneuver for any legacy brand.
Oh, massively risky.
Which brings up a critical piece of the puzzle. Why would State Farm pull the trigger on this massive upheaval right now, in the mid-2020s?
The timing is everything.
It really is, because this shifts our focus away from the human drama in the local offices and points us toward the massive technological and legislative tailwinds reshaping the entire global economy right now in 2026.
Yeah, we have to bring the Deloitte outlook back in here because the technology evolution has officially hit a tipping point.
AI.
Yes, AI. We are no longer talking about experimental pilot programs or basic chatbots filling up tech blogs. Artificial intelligence is executing real, scalable use cases across the insurance industry.
And specifically, we're talking about the rise of agentic AI, right?
Yes, agentic AI.
I see that term thrown around a lot. What makes an AI agentic as opposed to just, a standard smart computer program?
Well, a standard chatbot just answers questions based on a prompt. It's reactive. Agentic AI has agency. It can execute multi-step workflows entirely on its own. Deloitte notes that AIG, for example, has launched an agentic AI underwriting assistant built with Anthropic and Palantir.
Oh, wow. So what does it actually do?
This AI can receive an incredibly complex, non-standard excess and surplus submission. It reads the PDF, extracts the data, cross-references it with historical risk models, evaluates the property data, decides that the risk is acceptable, and issues the quote.
Autonomously.
Autonomously, without a single human staff member ever touching the file.
That completely changes the value proposition of a human worker.
It does, and it extends to the back end as well. On the claim side, Zurich is deploying machine learning models specifically to detect anomalies and fraud.
Fraud detection is huge.
Massive. Deloitte projects that AI-driven fraud analytics could save property and casualty insurers up to $160 billion by 2032.
$160 billion in savings. That is unfathomable.
It's game-changing. When you have technology that can underwrite a simple auto policy perfectly and catch fraud infinitely faster than a human adjuster, the traditional highly paid human middleman suddenly looks like an unnecessary expense.
Right. But the tech is only half the story for why this is happening right now, isn't it?
Correct.
Because there is also a massive legislative catalyst that just changed the entire financial math for these companies.
The legislative piece is the match that lit the powder keg. In July 2025, the One Big Beautiful Bill Act was passed.
Right, and we should be clear, regardless of the political debates surrounding that legislation, we are just looking at the hard numbers. The economic reality it created for a corporate board of directors is completely undeniable.
Exactly, we're just looking at the math.
So what did the bill actually do to the balance sheets?
The legislation maintained the corporate tax rate at 21%, but crucially, it introduced immediate aggressive tax benefits for capital expenditures and domestic research and development.
Break down the difference for me. Capital expenditure versus paying your workforce.
So, in accounting, Paying an agent a commission or a salary is an operational expense.
Okay.
You pay the standard corporate tax rate on the revenue that supports those salaries. But if you buy a massive block of servers or dump millions into developing a proprietary AI model, that is a capital expenditure or an R&D investment.
Ah.
The new tax law allows companies to immediately write off those tech investments.
Wow. So in plain economics, the government is now heavily subsidizing a corporation's transition from human labor to digital infrastructure.
Exactly. While still taxing human labor at standard rates, the math actively forces the board's hand.
If I am a State Farm agent listening to this, I am deeply unsettled.
Understandably.
I mean, if an agentic AI can underwrite the policy and a machine learning model can catch the fraud, and the government is essentially paying the corporate office to build these automated systems,
Yeah.
are human agents just going to become obsolete physical storefronts for an AI backend? Like just a friendly local face to hand you a glossy brochure while the algorithm does all the actual work?
It is a totally valid fear. But Deloitte argues that the reality is going to be much more nuanced.
Oh, so?
Success for these massive carriers isn't just about blindly replacing humans with algorithms. It is about a concept they call human-AI collaboration.
So working together.
Right. Insurers are shifting to a human plus digital strategy. The goal is to let the AI handle all the high-volume, low-margin transactional tasks.
So the AI does the simple auto quotes?
The basic address changes, the
Yeah.
straightforward claims processing, yeah.
Mm.
The entire point of this automation is to free up human capacity for exactly what AI cannot do.
Which perfectly leads us into the final question of this deep dive. If the AI is doing all the basic quoting and processing, how does an agent actually survive and thrive in this new cutthroat post-2028 version of State Farm?
Well, we can find the exact survival blueprint by looking right back at the agents in the Reddit trenches who are already adapting.
Oh, really? They're already figuring it out.
Yeah. Remember how the new base commission for auto insurance is an unlivable 5 or 6%? Well, that is only the base. An agent can actually hit a variable commission rate of up to 9 or even 10.5%. But there is a massive catch.
What's the catch?
They only unlock that higher tier if they aggressively hit quotas in life insurance and financial services.
Ah, so it is a forced pivot. One commenter on the forums literally called relying solely on property and casualty production a death knell.
Exactly.
You simply cannot keep the lights on by just selling car insurance anymore. The agents who are surviving are the ones completely changing their daily operations.
Yep. I saw posts from agents who are now making 6 life insurance pitches every single day.
6 a day?
Yeah. They're monitoring the system, and when a client's auto rates happen to decrease, they immediately call them up to suggest rolling that exact savings into a new life policy.
That is so smart.
They are hustling on a completely different product line.
And Deloitte elevates this raw, street-level survival tactic into a broader, industry-wide concept they call empathy meets efficiency, right?
Yes. Think about the core nature of the insurance business. It deals with human beings during some of the most vulnerable, emotionally complex, and terrifying moments of their entire lives.
Right, like a family losing their home and all their possessions in a wildfire.
Or a primary breadwinner receiving a terminal medical diagnosis. Or a teenager getting into a severe car accident.
And an AI chatbot, no matter how advanced or agentic it is, cannot look you in the eye, hold your hand, and tell you that your family is going to be financially okay after your house burns to the ground.
Precisely. Customers absolutely demand speed and efficiency for the transaction itself.
They want the claim filed in 2 seconds on an app.
Right, which the AI provides perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
But they desperately need human empathy, clarity, and assurance when the stakes are high. The AI provides the efficiency. The human agent provides the empathy.
Here's where it gets really interesting. This completely redefines what it means to be a good neighbor, which has been State Farm's entire brand identity and marketing strategy for decades.
It changes everything.
The independent broker's role is fundamentally evolving. You can no longer be a passive salesperson who just sits at a desk and takes an order for a teenager's first car policy.
Those days are gone.
To survive, a State Farm agent must reposition their entire physical franchise as a holistic financial advisory hub.
That is the exact pivot required to survive the purge. The successful agent will use the AI's real-time quoting tools to completely automate the low-margin car insurance.
Getting it off their plate entirely.
Exactly. That automation frees up their human time to sit down with a family at a conference table, deeply understand their long-term goals, and sell them high-margin, complex life insurance and financial planning products.
You aren't just insuring their Honda Civic anymore. You are securing their generational wealth.
It is a total identity shift.
It really is. So
Yeah.
let's bring this all together for you. State Farm, a massive company generating incredible top-line revenue, but secretly bleeding profit in their core property and casualty lines due to inflation and regulatory lags. To stop the bleeding, they are intentionally squeezing agent compensation and stripping away legacy health benefits. Their overarching goal is to purge the older, complacent, rest-invest order takers who are just collecting automated renewal checks.
And they're pulling the trigger on this right now because the advanced capabilities of agentic AI have arrived.
Right.
And of course, new tax legislation has made it incredibly profitable for corporations to invest in tech infrastructure rather than human overhead.
So they are forcing their remaining 14,000 agents to evolve or die.
Yes. The survivors will be high-volume financial service consultants who provide human empathy in complex, high-stakes situations where an algorithm falls short.
Which brings us back to that restaurant analogy from earlier. State Farm realized they were losing money on every basic burger they sold.
Right.
So they aren't just firing the cooks, they are bringing in robots to flip the burgers, and they are demanding that the remaining waiters completely transform into high-end sommeliers selling expensive, complex bottles of wine just to make up the margins.
That captures the dynamic perfectly.
Yeah.
And it leaves us with one final, deeply provocative thing for you to mull over.
Okay, what is it?
If AI eventually perfects the core business of underwriting risk and paying out property and auto claims with zero human intervention.
Which it looks like it will.
Right. And if the remaining human agents are forced to exclusively sell life insurance and wealth investments just to survive, will the traditional insurance company effectively cease to exist?
Oh, wow. That really is the ultimate question. In 10 years, will State Farm seamlessly transform
Elite Avatars Industry News Podcast. Business, real estate, industry news, market trends, insights. Visit www.avatars.com.